Helldivers 2 is the most exciting game to play when you first try it out. Over these past couple of months though, that's not quite the case. It has been the complete opposite. Newer players will be overwhelmed with all of the latest content that has been added. I'm talking war bonds. No hate to them though, it makes the game worth grinding. Helldivers 2, for those who don't know, is a PvE type game where you fight for democracy. Not a lot of people can say that anymore though. Chaos Divers. There's a ton of roleplay in the community, and to be honest, before Helldivers, I was not much of a role player. But oh boy, this pushed me into Helldivers 2 roleplay. It's just fun. One quick note though, this is an essay type video, not a video to throw hate at the game and tell you to not play it. I have many hours in the game and I don't plan on stopping advocating for it. If you haven't played it yet, please do try it, as it is a whole different experience than other games. It's a lot better if you play with your friends though, so make sure that happens. Hello everybody and welcome to my Helldivers 2 essay video. I have had this idea for a while and started working on it one random night at 11 p.m. Before we get started, let's do the usual YouTuber ask viewer thingy and make sure you are subscribed. Making videos in an essay type is very exhausting, especially if it only gets like 10 views, so this will give me some more motivation to add to the channel. For those wondering, I am a rather older player in the Helldivers 2 age, clocking in at just under 120 hours. Pathetic, I know, but come on, the game is so repetitive at this stage. I'm sure other vets will understand. If you haven't seen the content, then here's the self-promo portion where I say, watch some of my videos, but honestly, at this point, those Helldivers 2 videos I made are kinda dookie, so just go watch other people's for your sake. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed making them, but compared to others, eh. So, what has happened to the fabled Helldivers 2? A lot. Honestly, so much to cover. We can start at the very beginning though. Long ago, when things were at the height of its life, PlayStation decided it would be a funny idea to push people into having a PlayStation Network account to play the game. To be fair, they did say it was needed before this happened, but they were having issues that caused them to not work properly, hence the peaceful era occurred. That is what I called it. Though peace cannot last forever, and that is what happened. The day that people started throwing hissy fits and stopped playing the game because of the publisher. Publisher, not devs. I have respect for the developers, and I feel like the player base kinda went ham on them with the reviews that were given to Helldivers 2 on Steam. People were review bombing the game and forced its rating to be mostly negative. The Dark Era. Again, I like naming things with era. Ever since then, I feel like the game has started to fall apart rather quickly. Oh, but I should mention that PlayStation backed off and things did end happily. Just took a couple of days for the reviews to come back to positive. This event was heard by everyone, even those outside of the Helldivers community, so I'm pretty sure you know what I'm talking about when I reference this. This event was also pretty clowned on by the devs, joking around that they were adding a cape with the screenshot of the drop in positive reviews. From this point on though, the game has been changed forever. The updates. Don't get me started on these because I can go on forever. Oh wait, I'm making an essay. I kinda have to talk about this. Whoops. Anyways, the updates were really hype up until the Dark Era and Helldivers. As a player, I want to expect new content every major update, but instead, pretty much got the same thing over and over again, with maybe a slight change. The only major changes that were given out to these updates were balance changes, and they were so bad. Those will have their own separate paragraph in my script here. I can understand that developing a game can be hard, especially on their level of development, because they were cranking out updates fast to players with the war bonds. War bonds are like the game's battle pass. A cool thing about Helldivers is you can easily earn the in-game currency needed to buy the war bonds. Just play the game. It's simple. but the more you get these war bonds, especially early ones, you notice that it's pretty much just reskin items. Some of the items that you would get weren't even used by the community unless it was a joke. For example, the explosive crossbow. My friend and I would joke around that it would carry us through the match, when in reality, all it did was stagger a basic automaton unit that I could have easily just punched and killed. These weapons seem like they have so much potential, but none was given to them at all. The emotes that you would get from these war bonds were pretty silly, not going to lie, but I mean, you can only remember one, and you have dementia when it comes to the others that you have unlocked. So instead of doing the Super Earth Salute, when you would watch your fellow Helldiver get their head bitten off by a bug, you instead offered the bug a hug and became treasonous if you even survived that. There are some great moments with emotes though. My favorite thing to do with my friend is stand in front of the black hole and just throw up a hug. It seems so menacing. That black hole was a rather cool update thing that they did though. What can be worse than updates though? The enemies themselves. There's nothing wrong with the way that they look or model, don't get me wrong. It's just the way that they are pretty much. It's rather hard to explain. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just do a hell dive difficulty on any automaton controlled planet and try not to get shot by 1 million rockets at any given time. The amount of things that would happen in the higher difficulties doesn't make the game fun at that point. It's just trying not to die. What do I mean? Well, my automaton example was being serious. I think that they have fixed that with the Jungle Planet update thing that did a while ago, but at one point the automaton higher levels were impossible for me to play because of the amount of exploding projectiles entering my cranium at Mach 10 speeds. Then being wombo comboed by flying into the air and getting ragdolled for what seemed like a millennium as my character just tried to stand up. The bugs are a lot better than they were before though. They used to just spawn a million Bile Titans and thousands of chargers. That's what it seemed like to me. Now they just spawn billions of the little buggers when you're playing lower level difficulties. Not bad, but still annoying to keep killing them off. On higher difficulties, it does entirely seem doable to play alone and enjoy when you're doing the bugs. Plus, they have a new bug, the Impaler. I think that's what it's called. Haven't played the game in forever because of these reasons, mainly because I have no one to play with, so it doesn't seem repetitive, but still. Another thing, when will we get a new type of enemy? I mean, come on, it feels like we have just gotten the same two enemies with the same major orders. Speaking of major orders, the painful grind. These major orders were just a pain to complete. They pretty much are just a carbon copy of a previous one, unless there is something special happening like Meridia. It just feels like you do the same thing over and over again when playing these, because at some point you have to kill 2 billion bugs. Oh wait, just like 3 months later and you have to do it again, but throw 1 billion Bile Titans. I don't think those numbers are inflated. I think that was a recent major order. I understand the whole "this is war" type game, but I mean, we just keep losing and taking back the same planets over and over again. I'm tired of playing on Men Kent after losing it for the 10th time. Also, the ship upgrades are so painful to get. You have to play hundreds of missions just to get rare samples. At this point, super samples are common, and common are just like plastic. They are everywhere. Yet, when it comes to rare samples, they're like finding money on the streets. Serious thought though, what happened to that? When I was younger, I'd find money on the streets, yet now it just doesn't exist. Another thing that people would grind for is certain weapons. Usually, at the end of each war bond, there would be a really good weapon. Well, with these updates that keep coming out, they tend to be nerfed. And I mean heavily nerfed. To the point where no one will rock that weapon anymore because of it. It's really sad because some of these weapons that they make are enticing, yet once used it seems like you just got scammed. Medals also. It's pretty painful to grind these. You can find them in game, yes, and get them for completing a full mission, but Other than that, it's very slow to accrue these. Plus, the cap makes it impossible to fully buy a new war bond and test everything. That's more of a content creator's perspective, but it's still pretty sucky. One major thing with the fall of this game is the player base. Not so much what you think, surprisingly. For those vets out there, you will remember the name Gantz the Demon and their story. Griefing is still a huge thing that happens in the game, but the main issue is due to the season. For some odd reason, when it was summertime, the game died a lot, even though more kids were free to play the game. I'm assuming people who play pubs don't want to deal with little kids acting like little kids, because they can be very annoying. Call of Duty, anyone? Currently, the game has been split up into 3 major sections of the player base right now. Chaos Divers, Loyal Helldivers, and the True Democracy Fighters. I forgot the name, sorry. Chaos is siding with the enemies, Loyal is pretty straightforward, and the True Fighters are pretty much going on their own and doing their missions for their freedom. Instead of what Super Earth tells Helldivers, they do what they want. It's a pretty cool little thing that the community is doing on a dying game. Let's get back to the griefing though. What exactly does it look like? Well, of course you have the common team killing, which is still a major thing in the game, but it is a common one that happens by accident. Then we have the more diabolical ones, where you just kick people after getting far into the match. Pretty scummy, but they are working on improving that portion of the griefing and making it better. There are still a lot of good people out there, so make sure you at least say thank you, because it just feels good to have someone who cares about the game and meeting others. To be honest though, the main nail in the coffin for me would have to be the repetitiveness of the game. I love each mission, but I've just played them so much at this point that it's just plain boring. Like a monkey hammering the same nail, I just keep doing 100% of missions and can't find joy within them anymore. While having the boys to play Helldivers with does make the experience more fun and enjoyable, we can only have so many questionable conversations before we hop off. With these newer updates though, they have been adding a lot of new missions. For example, one that was a while ago, but still, the Black Hole Formation. I really loved having to pump the fluid into the planet while having to defend, then, at the end, just get overwhelmed by the amount of shriekers there were and barely make it out alive. That was fun, but very buggy. Pun is absolutely intended. Then, we got the cool defense mission. It was really cool because it felt like a tower defense with stratagems that you could bring. I haven't played Helldivers now, but I do recall seeing the little larva missions with the Escalation of Freedom update that was a letdown. Even the game director said something about how bad the update rolled out. These are some pretty quirky missions that make the game more fun, but they are probably limited. The content that has been made on my channel is also somewhat repetitive. It's mainly just me completing missions with friends and doing wacky things alongside them. My all-time favorite was completely coating the buddy bunker with mines. That was a really fun video. Other than that, it's just mission after mission. I'm sure a ton of new players have left because of the small amount of missions there are. I do not hate the dev team though. I think I need to get that out there because the game they produced was great. Now, they just need a killer update. Maybe one that includes the Illuminates? Thank you for watching the video, everyone. It's kinda a sad one to make because I enjoyed this game when it was at its height. I enjoyed the real play and all the fun times I had, but it's just gotten bland for me and countless others. Once again, making videos like this do take some time, and I would really appreciate it if you liked and subscribed to the channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I do not want to see this game die a miserable death, and I would like to see it grow again. But for now, this has been the undemocratic downfall of Helldivers 2.